face Mad Lions. They have to retreat.
Nyancat catches onto Hilly. Looks like backwards, another kill, upset security.
You can TP here, you can TP here.
Calm down.
I'm gonna use so, I'm gonna use so.
Use ward here,
I'm gonna use TP, I'm gonna use over here.
Yeah. Okay, we're going. Look at Jace.
It's fine, you're fighting. I'm gonna trick.
Good Silas. Okay,
yeah, look this way.
Vitality equalized, no pun intended, and both teams at 1 win now going into Game 3. Righted the ship for now. What I'd love to know from my analyst is, we obviously saw adaptations from Vitality, otherwise they wouldn't have won Game 2, but were the adaptations more in line with the way that they won games in the regular season, or did we see something fresh?
Well, I think the key thing was just giving more priority and agency to their solo laners. I think especially when you pick the Maokai, I think you are the most flexible when you can pick some of those AD champions that Perkz likes to play. When they went 4-5 this time around, they did indeed ban Yone and Tristana against them, what the Maokai was showing. And I think that when you're capable of picking an AD mid, you can then play an AP top. And the Rumble coming in was a beautiful addition to make this early game skirmish comp. And then to drop both was also super nice.
Yeah, I think they really understood how they needed to shut down Carzzy as well. Even though he kind of got a little bit ahead after some mistakes in the early game, the composition that you had makes it really easy to play into a Jinx as well. Jinx is one of these AD carries that really flourish by having high range and then have the excited to move forward. But if she never comes in a position to actually attack people, you're playing into Maokai ultimate, you're playing into Rumble ultimate, you're playing into Nautilus R. It's a lot of these things that just allows you to press your R keys and Jinx having a hard time on the map. So I also think Vitality had good adaptation into Carzzy specifically.
Also, hitting their power spikes very early on in the game for Vitality, reminiscent of Game 1, where it was the side of Mad Lions that could spike early, and thanks in part to this Herald fight.
Yeah, I think specifically the fact that Kai'Sa gets to have first move as well on the Nautilus really sets up the fact that suddenly Vitality is the team picking up the objectives. They got every Drake, they only lost one Herald, and it's really just the fact that their map movement was so much cleaner in this game.
I think a key thing as well was just that Photon, after the early 2v2s on top side, kept perma push top. Tristana as well, after a very good trade on mid, TP back on Noon Quiver, was super good. I think that they maintained momentum and they gave Bo freedom to roam freely on the Maokai and actually engage in activity, which we know is something that Bo loves.
Absolutely, and Kaiser loves as well, I want to say. A different look when he's on Nautilus.
Oh yeah, for sure, because that allows you to play for these solo laners instead. You weren't really looking at the 2v2 action between the bot laners. When you talk about Kai'Sa versus Mickey, it's not about the laning phase, it's about the impact that these two supports can leave on the map. And suddenly having Kai'Sa and Nautilus instead of the Nami, I mean, it kind of writes itself there as well. It's so much easier to impact it. Oh, sorry, Hilly.
You mean Hilly? But I thought it also makes sense, you know?
Sorry. It's because it's the same conversation with those supports as well, and we had them yesterday, but obviously my point still stands.
Yeah, obviously, indeed. Himaro?
It's just, I want to just hammer home how good Perkz was. Like, Perkz was an absolute machine. Like, what a level up, what a glow up after that first initial game. The Cassiopeia was getting pressured by the Vi and Ahri on cooldown by the Nautilus too. And in this one, just a Noon Quiver base into baiting Nisqy into taking a very big trade. He didn't have TP to come back, was out of mana, and he leveraged that into getting 2 platings. In that isolated situation on mid, he managed to get 1k gold ahead, and then he just kept farming, kept accelerating. We've seen so many Tristanas globally that don't get to keep their CS per minute up and not utilize the vision and the information she gains from her teammates in order to maintain that prio, and I think Perkz delivered beautifully. Also in the fights, we had that big 1v2 in the mid lane where he sidestepped the Everfrost and the chains from Sylas. I think this was a wonderful game from Perkz, and he deserves a lot of praise for this one.
Beautiful one from Perkz. Let's see if they can keep it going. Let's pull up the pick order from Game 2 as Matt has chosen to move to the blue side. And for as much as Perkz was playing very well, the answer in Sylas from Nisqy left a lot to be desired as well.
Yeah, the Sylas was kind of strange. Like, I imagined that he wanted to pick it because there's a Rumble ult, a Maokai ult that can look very attractive together with the Sejuani, but usually you see like some of the mages as the better answers into Tristana, but mages is not something that is so frequent here in Europe. I also want to highlight the 4-5 bans. I think to remove the Xayah instead of the Aphelios is a mistake because in the end you already know that you have Jinx and Jace on your side. Xayah is not going to have a good time fighting against those champions specifically. So I think Aphelios would have been the more accurate ban, because I don't think Xayah can contribute in the same way without Rakan on her side.
Yeah, I also really think that Braum ban really called for the Nautilus, and I think it's one of the things that really makes it hard for Jinx to play the game in that regard. They were betting on getting the counter pick, but unfortunately with all the different ultimates that layers upon the Jinx, it's so difficult for you to play the game. So from one point of view, yes, Sylas gets a lot of juicy ultimate, but then you put it into the context of the enemy team while you play out the team fights, and that becomes really difficult if you fall behind.
A couple of things to look out for, as we will cover the draft here on the desk as well, is the fact that Kennen was so important yesterday, responsible for so many wins, but likely each top laner's proficiency on Jace is not making that a factor today.
No, for sure. It seems like both sides have respect for the other player's Jace, but I have to bring it up to question Chase's performances on Jace, even though sometimes he can get himself advantages in terms of the impact he has overall in the games, is something that kind of leaves, you know, I desire more. And we were having this conversation, me and GB mentioned maybe the Jace ban is going to come in from Mad Lions so they can actually pick the Kennen themselves, because this is something he actually was very impactful on.
And do you want to see that, actually, knowing that they are now on the back foot? Well, technically not, but you know.
Yeah, it's a 1-1, but after coming off a loss and moving to blue side, I think there's a lot more questions from Vitality side as well. I think for Mad Lions, you can look to still ban a lot of the same things. I think the Olaf is just a certain, and when I see it on red side, I think I'm going to see it on blue side too. I think Seri will still come out, and then it might be Jace on 3 instead, so you can log in that Kennen for first pick, because there's been a lot of teams who's actually struggled to deal with a Kennen answer. We've seen some of the ranged top laners, we've seen some of the Jarvan, but let's be real, actually none of these has been convincing, and Kennen has looked like the better top laner every single time.
Another key detail, right, is that even though we love the Gragas from Nisqy, the other teams don't want to play it. And this is something that on red side, it's much harder to find room to ban, because you need to consider Annie, Rakan, Vi, and then Gragas as well. And then on top of that, the blue side here of Mad Lions, they don't need to first pick Gragas. The enemy team is not going to take that away from you, probably.
Probably, indeed, and that, of course, has been an absolute boon for Nisqy and for the Mad Lions. The first time they find themselves on the blue side in this series, so we'll see where they decide to go.
Yeah, so I think it comes down to as well, the Gragas from Mad Lions is interesting, because personally I still feel like it's such a comfort pick for them that to my extent I would actually probably let the Vi through. Say if they first pick Vi, well, you know, we always have the Xayah. If they don't first pick Vi, we can go for Vi, Xayah in our rotations. But so far the bans are aligned in terms of what we have been expecting. I think the Jace on 3 was what we were debating right now, and if that would come through, could indicate a Kennen first pick.
I would even go so far that even if they don't ban Jace, I feel like you should be able to be willing to pick the very strong Kennen on the patch and just play it into Jace if you favor a different ban. But I do have to say I kind of like the Jace ban, because last time Photon was so crazy on it. But Maokai instead, 2 games of Bo Maokai, that's a payoff for Vitality, because we were kind of skeptical about it, but the fact that they pulled through and went all the way. Xayah first pick, no Rakan, but Vi is in the picture.
I like that as well, because a lot of the facilitators of the junglers has been taken off the board. So if Vitality is looking for the Vi now themselves, they have to acknowledge that they are going to be playing Vi into Xayah. Then there's another mid laner that could come through that we have seen Nisqy perform on, which would have been the Lissandra, but we talked about Kennen for a long time, and there is a situation where you just say, we don't care if Jace is up, we are just going to go for the Kennen, because he's such a high priority champion.
I wonder if we're going to see just the Kennen Wukong straight up. This is something that has dominated over in the LPL and the LCK, and no teams were allowed to pick it. Hasn't had the same success in Europe, but Kennen is, of course, the standout. Oh, they just don't give a damn about the Xayah ult. He's going to have 4 other targets, so who cares?
Yeah, good point.
So I really wonder. We are in a situation now where you can just say, okay, we want to be able to pair up our support immediately, but you can't really go, oh, let me blind Nautilus, that's just going to screw you up. And you also want to pick a jungler here before you move into the second rotation, because a lot of them has already been taken off the board. There's 2 junglers that Elyoya has played, which has been the Wukong, has been the Lee Sin. I would prefer the Wukong. Lee Sin so much harder to play. Oh, well, I say that.
He's a professional player, GB.
I know. Lissandra is for the combo against the Lissandra Lee. Here they could drop bot or match mid, because they can play their Aphelios, they can play the Jinx, and they can also play the Lucian Nami into the Xayah. So they do have options to just answer the Lissandra right away here on 3. It could be some of the mages. They just dropped the Aphelios after a good game in the second matchup. Why not?
And I think as well, with the Lee Sin, there of course is the fact that in this comp that we see right now, you don't have to use your kick as an engage. You can use it as a disengage whenever you see the Kennen come in, and that might be where Elyoya is also looking for more value. But now up towards the top side, nothing has been picked from Chasey yet. I wonder if they even care about his Jays after the first performance we saw, because right now they're only looking at some of the team fighting tools.
That's what you guys were saying as well, so it sounded like disrespect, but it wasn't. It was just looking at the games.
I wonder now what are Mad Lions is going to do about the support pool, because they're banning mid laners. If Team Vitality choose to 5-pick a support, then the Renata and the Braum is going to have so much value into the potential Nautilus pick, because everything is just screaming hard engage on blue side, and knowing what type of a player Hilly is, he for sure is going to pick an engage support. And Braum and Renata picked on 5, that sounds very dangerous for, of course, Mad Lions.
They do care about Jace.
Yeah, they do care about the Jace as well. I wonder as well, because how much do you value, for example, a Thresh as well in the likes of on the side of Mad Lions? You don't need to ban it yourself. Kai'Sa doesn't show any priority on it, despite having paired up with the...
That's the Braum.
And with the Braum, you could just go... Nautilus is tough, but you can use it to actually...
Blitzcrank?
It could be a thing as well. Could be a thing as well, but knowing that you are playing against Lissandra, it's probably more likely that you just pick your support here and then look to R5 as support, mid laner, and then look to R5 your support.
I mean, Hilly... Does he really care if it's bad into a comp?
Yeah, he's probably the guy who gives the least amount of...
Fs.
I don't have a different word. Thank you.
Syndra.
Okay, Syndra. Just a mage into Lissandra is pretty standard. Probably is going to run TP. Anything that can keep a distance. I think anything that can just mask their failures from disengage. Any disengage is very strong on red side.
It's also a really powerful engage on towards a lot of the champions that you're seeing right now, because lots of them want to use their ultimate in a reaction to another ultimate coming out. But having to make the split decision call, do I ultimate myself, for example, on Lissandra and Asaya, when you see the scatter of the week come through, that's something that's certainly way tougher, because if the scatter comes through, then the CC chain comes through, and that's harder to react to than, for example, a buy ultimate. Now, Nautilus was banned, or Braum was banned, therefore, of course, you're looking for a Nautilus, and the response from Vitality is actually just going to be straight up the Tahm Kench offset. Probably never going to get touched in this game, I'll be honest. I
like it a lot because they are heavily outranging the enemy composition. Yeah. I hope that Bo, puts his finger off of the trigger, because he doesn't need to go ever. The enemy is going to outrange, just fish with the Aphelios abilities, fish with Syndra abilities, and let the enemy come into you. And this is where Kennen can get value. Tahm Kench on the disengage. I think this is looking quite good for Team Vitality, but on the other side, Mad Lions have a very Mad Lions-esque composition. If they can find early catches, snowball onto Perkz in the mid like they did in the first game, things can get dicey once again. So this is going to be a volatile one. Yeah, I really liked how this draft in general developed, because at first it's like you see the Vi come through, and then Mad Lions are really looking to, okay, how do we tailor our composition to make the Vi useless? So you get the Saya, you get the Lissandra as well. But then on the side of Vitality, they suddenly go, well, how do we make these champions useless? And then it's a lot of these outrange. I think the Syndra is great, Tahm Kench into the Nautilus too. I actually really like Vitality's composition here. Yeah, I think overall you need to be really happy with that, but it's all about the approach in the game, and I love that you called out Game 1 specifically, Yamato, because that was a story of Mad Lions pulling them into the chaos and getting their advantage because of that, and a great directive for Bo. Keep your finger off the trigger. You don't need to go. They will come into you, and you have the advantage. Let's see if Vitality or Mad Lions win Game 3.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift for Game 3. It's best of 5 between Mad Lions and Vitality. Winner advances to face BDS tomorrow in the finals. And right now, Mad Lions are on the blue side for the first time this series. Dagda, what do you make of the draft? We heard a great breakdown of how Vitality could play a bit more reactionary or counter-engage based on how their comp can play out.
Yeah, and I think the Desk did a great job of breaking it down. I think a huge amount of it is going to be on, Perkz trying to see if he can fish for some of these stuns, Upset being able to be the big damage dealer, Photon. Even if you just end up kind of playing keep away with the Kennen ultimates, you're still going to get value. I think the only thing that I'd like to add is how volatile the mid lane is. If you can actually end up getting either of these junglers in early, you manage to get some CC down without access to things like the cleanse for Perkz. He's in a lot of trouble. Niski at least has the Unsealed Spellbook, so maybe he can have a little bit more flexibility, but a huge amount of pressure can come through this 1-2 punch in the mid lane.
Dagda, what's your main role?
Support.
Support. So you've never played Lissandra into Syndra?
No.
It's miserable. It's the really horrible, really miserable matchup. Basically, well, you'll see Perkz do exactly this. And there's no real way for Lissandra to trade back, because the only way you gain range on your Q is by leveraging the minions. If you just try and throw a raw Q at the Syndra, it's just not going to reach. And so Perkz can just constantly play at arm's length. And notice he's always going to play to the side of the minions as well, so that basically Nisqy can't use them to trade onto him. So he's just going to keep harassing. And you also notice Nisqy's starting, hang on, looking for a hook.
Finds it. Upset in a little bit of trouble. Feathers flying forward. Carzzy able to do more. Ghost now used in reply. The root landed onto Hilly. 200 hit points, 140. Upset down to 210. Carzzy stepping away. Hilly trading his HP bar primarily for upsets.
Okay, pretty good trade for the bot lane of Mad Lions overall. Perkz will now hit level 2, and you can see how scared Nisqy is. Has he already gone? That's his last Corrupting Pot stack already. Yeah. And it just goes to show how ruthless this matchup is. Quickshot, you were talking about our experience with Perkz' Syndra in the past, and he's pretty familiar with the champ.
I mean, he is. He's also pretty familiar with LEC. 400 LEC games for Perkz. If you'll humor me very quickly for a quick stat, do you know what champion he played in his debut game in the LEC?
His debut?
Debut game.
It was Ahri, wasn't it?
It was Vladimir. Really? Yes, I just checked with our stats team, and right now he's going to be backed up here by Bo. Charging up on the Q. The footpath comes up. Denting blow to the face. Ring of Frost forward. Flash for first blood. Traded in reply. Aljoya's looking for Perkz. He's got the auto. The tower secures it. 2-1 to Mad Lions.
Very over-aggressive there for Vitality. They try to make the play, but Nisqy buys so much time. The fact he doesn't die to the immediate CC is so good, meaning that he gets to escape and set up for the double kill.
I think the annoying thing to deal with the Syndra is that when you do get within her range, she has so much utility. Gets the level 3, has the claw to get the safety. Good stun from Perkz, predicting it to land earlier. Bo flashes in for the last auto attack, but then Perkz overcommits as a result. Aljoy is able to respond, and he's able to get a kill back.
Oh, little hamster's in trouble. On the mini-map, you could see Chasey getting a good trade into Photon, but now all of a sudden, the tides have changed. Okay, Photon is up 200 hit points, steps forward, W auto into Q, and now that will force Chasey away. They're pretty even on CS. Photon will pull up a little bit with this wave pushing towards it.
Yeah, the bad news here for Chasey is this wave is exactly going straight towards Photon, and Chasey's going to have to TP back into lane very quickly as the bullying continues in the mid lane. Dark Seal being picked up for Perkz alongside the boots. Good wave clear though from Nisqy. Oh no, is Perkz really going to hold this as well? No, he's going to try and clear this out as quickly as possible as Carzzy and Hylissang.
Another fight. Dredgeline connects. Upset flashes away immediately. Carzzy's looking for the feathers. Upset still surviving. Kaiser's low. Minion wave is going to push back towards them in just a second, but that is a lot of trading in that bottom lane.
I think Upset just about managed to flash away from the feathers before they connected, which meant that they didn't get the CC down, so barely able to escape away from that one. Heal coming through from Kaiser as well to keep his AD carry up and healthy.
All right, so dead, even, and gold. 2 kills to 1. We have another engage happening. Dredgeline out. Upset, using that flamethrower. Carzzy's being tagged. Tick, tick, boom for Kaiser. Tongue Lash gets enough HP back. No flash available. Kaiser stays alive. Nobody's dead just yet. There's no support from either team's junglers, though. Mad Lions dancing on a knife's edge. You're still dead even on CS.
No summoner spells at all in that bot lane means that there's no follow-up to come through, but it's going to be a very much a showing for both these junglers, seeing if they can get down to try and turn this lane back around. Both of them are cancelling the resets.
It's really interesting because the wave state is so horrible for Vitality that Mad basically were going to recall there so that they could set up a wave freeze, right? So in that window, Vitality was like, oh, well, if they're resetting, we'll delay our reset to push it underneath the tower so we can at least get the wave bouncing back, but they weren't quite able to do it. Now,
oh, here comes Bo. He gets jumped on first, though. Sonic Wave into Resonating Strike. Initial path out, roots it down, flashes away, and Aljoy survives. Bo stays alive a few seconds longer. He just dodges the Sonic Wave. And it was Bo looking to gank the mid lane. He ends up being the target, though.
The fact that Aljoy flashes away was great, but it meant he wasn't in range to auto-attack. So Bo just barely able to get over. Mad trying to punish the fact that the Vi had no flash from the earlier play, but they don't quite get it.
All right, so right now, Vitality doing well in top and mid lane. CS advantages for both. And also, there is a correction from our stats team. Vedius, you were so confident on the Ahri. You were right. The initial read, it was Ahri for his first game. Right now, it's just hit level 6 top lane. Photon throws out the slicing maelstrom, continues step forward, a large minion wave to work with. No backup either. Chasey's still got that flash. Stunned, 110.
Wait, he has no ult.
Energy's available, no ult yet.
Yeah,
All out just become available. No enough movement. Photon's not looking for the dive, but he continues to be oppressive and pull ahead in CS.
And that's all that Photon really needs to do. As long as he can keep pushing Chasey in and get some of these Terra plates, get that CS lead, he's going to be fine. Even Cullen is back pocket as well. He'll easily, if this keeps up, be able to come out of the laning phase with a 1,000 gold lead and make sure that he's able to be a big impact in these fights. And once again, Chasey kind of needs to be that big front line. If he's struggling to provide that, it makes it a lot easier for Vitality to play these fights.
And of course, Kazi's the only member of Mad Lions doing significantly well right now, up 13 CS, thanks to a lot of those engages from Hylissang. Chasey's going to be backed up here. No ult for Photon, no jungle support either. And Olioya was just shadowing for a moment or two and decided to back away. But for Photon, running this cannon, pick that we've seen really taking over this weekend's games, finally in Photon's hands, and he's generating a pretty significant lead for now.
You know, I just had this really random memory. Quick shot. You'll remember 2016.
Yes,
do you remember the Smeb incident?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, very well.
It was just now that Perkz gets his own Korean cannon. Must be a nice change of pace for him.
For anyone that may not be as familiar, G2 got wiped, was mid lane.
It was a famous play, like G2 were set to win that game.
Turret.
I think it was 2016 Worlds.
Correct, yeah.
And they could have potentially gone out of the group if they had, it may have even been 2017 Worlds, I forget exactly which Worlds it was, but yeah, an incredible ultimate from Smeb, landing onto all 4 members of G2. It was incredible.
And now Photon will be asked to step up. I mean, Yamato was saying how Photon could play defensively, the Slicing Maelstrom, could also look to engage. But when you look at K'Sante, Lee Sin, Lissandra, Nautilus, all of them are jumping onto you. So you've always got that option to use it defensively or offensively.
Chasey reads that very well. He knows that his jungle is on the dragon, and he recognizes that there's a real chance that he could very well get dived, so he moves away, and immediately Nisqy looking to make the cross map happen. The pings are coming down, bot lane in threat of a dive, Upset, and Kaiser not quite level 6, which means that ulti from Kaiser will not be able to protect Upset.
So the thing is, the Scuttle Crab didn't spot Bo actually moving over towards the Rift Herald, so they don't know for certain that the Rift Herald was started up, especially because Syndra was still in mid, Photon was still on top, so they didn't know for certain that you don't have Bo just immediately resetting and trying to cover bots, so Mad just decided to call off that play rather than risk too much.
Well, I'm very glad, because Mad Lions in the previous game committed to some Rift Herald fights that didn't work out particularly well. This game, Kazi and Hylissang have been able to generate a significant lead, and I think Ifya said it earlier, the wipe swap lane, Kazi, Kaiser, a lot of history. Nisqy gets jumped on and the high skill button from Perkz is used. But Upset is down 300 gold. I think it is balanced out here as Photon and Perkz are ahead. So Dragon goes the way of Mad Lions. Vitality, they've got their hands on Herald. No significantly, by this point in both previous games, there was several thousand gold lead for the team that eventually won.
For those interested as well, we always love to talk about our UI. If you are interested in tracking Perkz' stacks on the Syndra, you can see them on his icon on the right-hand side. I think the breakpoints are 40, 80, and 120 for the respective skills. And when he gets the max stacks is when you get the execute on the ultimate. That's really where it becomes lethal. When Syndra did get that mid-scope change, she became less of a lane bully compared to what she was, and she actually became a much stronger scaling pick. And I remember originally, I think it was last year, at the beginning of this year even, where she was very prominent in the mid lane, but due to so many mobile jungle mid matchups, she became harder to play. But so far, Perkz has done a pretty good job in this laning phase, bullying Nisqy around, but now he has to be very careful as Mad look for a play.
I mean, Perkz has got a 60% win ratio on this champion. 35 professional games, he will be ganked, yeah. Dragon's Rage lands, Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike.
It's just not
very
fair.
Well executed. Perkz has been the recipient of a love letter from Mad Lions so many times this series.
But that's the thing, Mad Lions have been doing a great job of trying to play around the vision that has been set up for Vitality. You don't actually have a huge amount of opportunities to spot Mad as they move in behind Perkz there, and that's kind of what I was talking about once you hit the level 6. Like, the opportunity to try and play around Nisqy here with Hilly is so big.
Now, I'm so happy because going into the break after game 2, I was saying to you guys, I really want to see a little bit more of a competitive back and forth game. And after 11 minutes now, the kills are balancing out the CS advantage and Vitality have accrued. So kills for Mad, CS advantage for Vitality. We're dead even on gold. 2 minutes until the next dragon. You see Kaiser just waiting to interrupt Hilly's recall.
He's done that all game.
Yep, all series long as well.
I think a huge amount of this for Vitality, though, is trying to wait for the right time to find these fights. If you look at Perkz, I don't think he has a huge amount of target selection when it comes towards the ultimate, right? It feels, again, like Fish trying to set up for Upset. But the last 2 fights we've had have Upset without Flash. So now, looking topside.
All right, Teleport is available. Sorry, Flash is available for Photon. Maybe needed. Slicing Maelstrom buys some time. He just holds on to it. Not even a Dragon's Rage needed. Easy kill here for Mad. Another 2v2 starting off. Astronaut into Catfish, and nothing else breaks. I was expecting a little bit more because of how the previous trades have gone, but there we go. Mad Lions generating the advantage.
I like the Photon didn't flash there, though. It was actually Perkz going to be trading on towards Nisqy, but the big thing that we were just saying is I think Vitality have to play for team fights. They have to play for objectives, and a kill going to Chasey won't make or break this game, but a flash on Photon at this next Dragon or at some of these fights could be the big difference maker. And I like the Vitality are kind of thinking ahead here, saying, look, we want to try and play for this next big objective for us.
All right, now the next big fight is breaking out. Elyoya has got the ult available, stepping in. Kaiser the first focus. Riskin buying some time. Upset still takes the auto from Hilly. Elyoya follows the Lee Syndrome, but the Devour is off, and it's interrupted. That's the first kill on the ball. The second secured, both of them going to Kazi.
Beautifully played by Mad Lions. They knew that Elyoya was on his way bot. And if we look at the last 5 minutes, Elyoya has found a gank mid, a gank top, and now a gank bot as well. He has come alive in this game, and he is getting Mad through this early game. He's found Bo.
0-3, looking for another. Involved in 5 of Mad Lions' 6 kills. And I think another game where the skirmishes and the individual like mechanics in these fights early game, Mad Lions are coming out on top. Nisqy's going to be looking for the roam. Flash is still up for Photon, as we mentioned. No ult available to him. Until for strikes used. And here comes Nisqy. This is going to be too easy. Frozen Tomb secured. And the kill will be gifted over to Nisqy. So very nicely done, just punishing Photon for being overextended.
Right as Photon TP back into lane as well, so it'll give a good amount of opportunity for Chasey to push this in. Dragon is up and available though, and a lot of Vitality members down here. No ult for Kaiser.
Well, let's start another fight, yeah. Hylissang tries to trade line away to the wall. Elyoya, no kick available either. Here comes Kazi. He is flashless, but it may not be enough. Hylissang goes down. Moonlight Vigil flies wide. Knock up, not going to connect, but it may not matter. Elyoya re-engages on the Kaiser. Support coming from Perkz. Unleash power is available. Does he find Scatter the Weak? May not even be needed. Stun, instantly cleansed, and a denting blow to the back of the head. Now Vitality looking for a tower dive.
That damage was very surprising. Yeah. At the end, the execute onto Kazi. I don't think he was expecting it, not that he could read too much about it. Elyoya with the kick.
Back, resonating strike as well. That's another kill there for Mad Lions. They end up punishing Vitality, who stuck around.
Good call from Elyoya. He realizes Kaiser doesn't quite have his ultimate up and available, and no flash onto Perkz, so immediately manages to turn that one around. Vitality, though, will move over towards the Dragon. Nisqy is down on bot side, but I really don't think they want to try and contest anything here.
Wow, it's crazy that Mad have 8 kills, but the game still feels very close. Nisqy looking to collapse. Hylissang and Elyoya are in the vicinity.
Fight.
Bono ultimate though. Kaiser has his up, but I think it's too risky of a fight for Vitality.
3 seconds of flash there for Elyoya.
I don't think they're going to dive this. This would be really in from Mad. I don't think it's worth the gamble.
Do they know that? They're sticking around.
Well, what I think that they want is the tower, because they have a big health advantage right now. Upset's very low on mana, and you can see Kazi's pushed mid and has been able to rotate bot, so now they might actually look for the dive.
Kazi's coming in, Featherstorm's available to him. Hex flash forward, Nisqy goes forward, doesn't take the Glacial Path. Kazi's now underneath the tower. Dredge line does connect. Devour by some time. Kaiser gets them out. A lot of time spent for not much.
Yeah, so now with this window, Perkz can push in mid and actually trade this for a tower of his own. So even if Vitality lose bot tower, it'll overall be an even trade. So well played by Upset. His positioning was unbelievably dangerous, but he trusted Kaiser so much, knowing that he had his ultimate at his back and could take him away to safety.
And that was why they got the wave. It meant that you couldn't actually make the play happen as Mad, because there was no one to actually tank the tower. So really good call from Vitality to step away from that one. And as you say, Betty, tower goes down in mid. Photon and Chasey, though, going to keep their auto attacks going on top, and Chasey might actually be in a bit of trouble here.
I mean, a little bit here. Photon is still up 20 CS. Chasey's still got the flash and the all-out. If Photon sticks around, Kelly is making his way up. No ult, but here comes Elyoya as well. So Photon got to be able to respond to this. Remember, we saw Chasey backing away a potential dive. He respected it, fell away from that tower. And with that ward dying, now Photon's doing the same. What it does do, though, is Mad Lions can start off the Rift Heralds.
With Mad Lions constantly making these plays, though, it means that a lot of the tools that Vitality are trying to use are disjointed. No ult on Kaiser as the Rift Herald is starting. No safety for Upset. No flashes galore on Vitality. So it means that Mad Lions can actually utilize their composition that little bit better to make the play. Bo looking for the steal, though.
Oh, is this the Bo show? Not sure. Steals it. Can he get to the eye? is locked in place. Scatter the weak, buys time, rooted immediately. Here comes Photon. He gets the eye, and he gets out. Now, if that Rift Herald can be used to unlock a tower, maybe you'll make back that gold difference of losing Bo's life, but Mad Lions, they will get a tower.
The reason why that's a pretty big deal is Syndra is a very difficult champion to siege up against, especially when you have a relatively short-range comp that Mad Lions have. Anyone that's ever played against a Syndra knows that if you're near that tower and she lands the QE, you're basically dead. Mad, though, on the offense top lane.
Kill the hamster, kill the hamster! The mine goes out, flashes away this time round. Dredgeline pulls him all the way backwards. Knocked out as well. Kill secured. Teleport comes in here for Perkz, and this will just be to hold the tower. Mad Lions, they get the kill, they get the flash as well.
So even though Vitality denied the Herald, what did Mad get off the back of that? A kill onto Bo and a kill onto Photon. Perkz is going to continue to hold this top tower for as long as he can. Perkz, though, lands the stun. He needs a little bit, he needs a lot more damage before he can get that execute. But Vitality, they keep the gold close, but Mad Lions, after equalizing, have suddenly gained ahead again.
It was nice timing from Mad Lions, though, because there's nowhere really on the map for Vitality to threaten with all that pressure on top side from Mad. The Wave and bot wasn't really pushed in. Wave mid wasn't really going to threaten onto a tier 2. And honestly, if you just look at Upset, he's just been walking back and forth in mid.
Right now, Niski's walking back and forth to avoid those dark spheres. Does survive long enough. Bo will jump onto Aljoya. Looking at the minimap, a little bit of support coming up from Vitality. They are now down 1,600 gold. The Mad Lions have been able to string together enough kills to generate a large advantage.
Now, Photon does have TP, so I imagine he'll be sent off to the bot lane. You can see that directional ping on the minimap. 10 to 3 in kills as you highlighted. Quick shot. And huge props to Niski this game. This matchup is not an easy one. He's worked very well with his jungler to mitigate the pressure that Perkz was able to put down. Let's have a look back at this play. Photon uses the empowered Blast Cone to create, well, gain a lot of distance. Q's over, auto-attacks the eye into the smite. Then he ults immediately. He almost gets out of here thanks to a great knockback from Perkz. But then the flash W from Niski as the Kennen then sneaks in like the ninja that he is and walks away with the prize.
I mean, nicely done by Photon. Now looking though, Dragon in 30 seconds, that's going to be the big fight.
The audience just laughed at Kennen's face.
Yes,
okay?
I know. That's not cool.
That's not cool,
That's
audience.
really not cool.
Like, Kennen's just a ninja trying to have a great time.
A space ninja, by the way.
A space ninja.
Space ninjas are
the
better than normal
deadliest of them all.
Yeah.
Quite right, Dagda.
Yeah. Well, right now, Photon will need to call on the deadliness, because right now he's been deaded 3 times. 0-3-0. He's been stuck in lane, to be fair. And we've had a number of like small skirmishes across the map, but with only 1 tower down for Vitality, 2 for Mad, they're now going to start opening up the map. Look, Herald drop and a number of Vitality members moving top.
But so are Mad. Mad are basically going, look, you think we're going to go for Dragon, but we're actually going to try and match this play on top side. They haven't shown yet, so they don't want to fully commit. It's just Perkz up there, but Perkz doesn't have TP, which is a bit of a weird one.
Look at bot, look at bot. Chasing level 13, starting to get away. Cease and desist is available for Bo. Holding on to a teleport now being used. Photon's keeping that slicing maelstrom. Aljoya and Niski jump into the fray. Photon's trying to get damage down, but he's running for his life at the moment. And it's going to be Bo that gets taken down.
And this is what I was saying. Perkz not having TP makes this a very weird play for Vitality. You're going to be playing towards the side of the map that's weak for you now because you can't join in. Whereas both Chasey and Niski have the teleports to join in. So they make the bot play happen. They get the kill. They get the tower. And all the Vitality managed to do is answer for the top lane.
Yeah, just a huge punish from the Mad Lions, and just beautifully played as well. Aljoya using his kick to create space between Photon and the rest of his team. A hard commitment onto Bo to remove the jungler from the equation. Hylissang Hex flashes over the wall with the TP into mid. They're looking to dive.
Here's the dive started. Devour comes out from Kai'Sa. Photon, no flash, no ulti, no tower has been unlocked. The third secured for Mad Lions, and now they are starting to make a significant impact in controlling the game.
And this is where, again, every time we're looking at an opportunity for Vitality to try and take a fight, they're super separated, right? They try to make the play on bot side where they're leaning more into skirmishes, but that's where Mad Lions' composition thrives. Like, Lee Sin wants to be in these small little fights. You can have Niski who can focus down one member and make things easy. Mad Lions are finding the opportunity consistently to take the fights that are favorable for them, and Vitality now are staring down the barrel of a 3rd Dragon before they find their first team fight. And yes, they should have a lot of these big summoner spells available, like Photon's Flash, Upset's Flash available. And I think that's what Mad Lions are going to be trying to do right now. See if they can find an opportunity with Niski's ultimate just back up to just burn some of these summoner spells before the next Dragon.
What I will say is that when I look across Mad's composition and I look at their builds, they don't have a lot of damage. What they do have is a lot of damage mitigation. Perkz' responsibility is to press R and obliterate someone on the enemy team. He has prioritized that Void Staff, but Nisqy's ultimate, Nisqy's stopwatch, the Carzzy ultimate, there's so many tools to mitigate that. I wonder how easy it is for Vitality to actually play out these fights, as Mad is looking to force one themselves.
You're going to find out. You're going to find out right now. Baron down to 6,000. Photon is in range, still has the TP, making for 4,000 hit points on Baron. Upset using Green Gun, tongue latch onto Nisqy. Glacial Path Forward, he's been locked up, locked down. Baron secured, but the kill goes to Vitality. I call Worth every day.
Definitely for Mad Lions, they're happy out. Nisqy will give his life, but the fact you get Baron now, and as Vedi already pointed out, it's quite difficult to try and siege against Vitality, so Mad Lions having this big buff is going to be huge.
Yeah, they can really now start to accelerate the pace of the game, especially now that they feel that Chasey, with this second item as well, he's going to be so tanky and durable, and he's going to be able to hold off Photon, especially seeing as he does not have that Void Staff here. So let's have a look back at this play.
I think Vitality needed to TP Photon in earlier because Vitality just jumped onto Nisqy, right? But I think this was actually the moment when they could have taken the fight. Look at the summoner spells. Look at the fact that you've just picked up some of these big items like the Gale Force onto Upset. I think that could have been, or sorry, the Infinity Edge onto Upset. This could have been the moment where you actually take these big fights.
Yeah, I agree.
But because they don't actually commit with the TP and find it, now Mad come out with a Baron, and they're going to be so difficult now to try and play up against.
Yeah, the question we should be asking is, have we seen an actual 5v5 fight between Vitality and Mad yet? And the answer is no. Like, it's just been skirmishes across the board.
Well, then it's not a question we have to ask because we know the answer to it.
Rhetorical question we have to ask, all right?
Chasey.
Once again, another skirmish breaking out. I mean, look at how long it is taking to take Chasey down. He survived in front of 4 members for so incredibly long. Unleash Power will not find target just yet. Feather Storm does a lot of work. Feathers will be able to root if the chase continues. So, Chasey goes down, pressure in the mid lane, pressure applying bottom now as well. Mad Lions are going to take another tower.
Yeah, Mad Lions are just playing this really well. They see everyone on Chasey, so easily take mid, immediately move bot, and now they engage.
Fight. Carzzy forced to cleanse, to flash, the dredge line comes back out. Carzzy takes down Bo. Photon, can he find the slicing Maelstrom? Mad Lions are already away, and Nisqy will get dropped by the Chakrams. The flash forward, Upset on the hunt. Carzzy's going to try and find the roots on the Feathers, not waiting for their play caller. Photon slicing Maelstrom. Holds him in place long enough. Vitality finally find a fight. It was a 5 versus 4, but they will take it. Aljoya is running for his life, and Vitality, do they continue this chase? I think they might.
Vitality still want to see if they can try and make it work, but Mad Lions are going to walk away, and I was looking, can we actually get Vitality with the engage? And it turns out you just have to use Upset's face.
Vedius, does that count as a team fight despite the fact Chasey was dead?
I mean, it was pretty close to one for sure. I think that Upset had just had enough, and you can see how he just gets unleashed in this fight. He was like, all right, let's go. Bo with an overzealous force. He knows that Carzzy doesn't have the ultimate. Carzzy cleanses out as quickly as he can, but the chain CC from Mad to lock up Bo to get that execute. But then Nisqy commits the E, which means that he puts himself in a very dangerous spot. And Upset at this point says, okay, time for me to be unleashed. He's the one that dives in first, flashes in, knows that Photon has the flash as well. Photon whiffs the ulti here, is able to finally get in range of Carzzy to land the stun and the Q. But then at this point, the rest of Mad are able to escape.
Also, massive play from Kaiser there. Right as the kick from Aljoya came out, Kaiser ate Upset, so it prevented the knockback onto Upset during that and managed to follow up on it. So really nice play from Kaiser in the middle of all this.
Round 2, fight! Mad Lions continue the siege, grouping up. Dragon is up in 3 seconds time. It's the sole point for Mad Lions. They need 2 more to pick that up. Vitality not going to contest. In fact, instead Mad Lions will be able to secure 2 towers. It's 5-2. Despite Vitality getting the advantage in that fight, they are still fairly behind. Down 5 kills, down 2 dragons, down 3k gold. But I do think you can see there is some glimmers of hope if they can find the 5v5s, but man, it is so hard to get in range.
And you have to give credit to Aljoya for this whole game, because when you kind of look back, Vitality had push in mid, Vitality had push in top. Bot lane was pretty even, largely in favor of Mad Lions, but Aljoya has been so great at finding just skirmishes across the board, gank after gank after gank after gank, and he's really been a big difference maker in getting Mad Lions to the other game. Yamato summarized it beautifully on the desk where he said, this is a very Mad Lions comp, and I think we're seeing Mad Lions play to the way in which they excel, and they're getting the better of Vitality. Now, the biggest thing that Vitality can lean on is some of the scaling teamfight power that they do have. Range was something that the desk was talking extensively about, and as long as they can play pace patient and force Mad Lions to come into them where they can leverage this Kennen ultimate, take advantage of Syndra's range, have Aphelios dish out damage on the backline, then there's a world where Vitality can come back into this game.
And of course, Upset, no flash, no ghost. So a lot of that unleashed potential using some of the damage and range needs to be very patient, buy some time. While I'm taking a look specifically at Chasey's build, I asked the stats team just to look at sort of itemization and builds. And then of all the games in LEC 23, 47 of those games, K'Sante's built the Iceborne Gauntlet. Only 6 of them have they gone for Jak'Sho. And I think when we see how tanky he is and how long he's surviving, it's going to be very important because he needs to buy as much time as possible for Carzzy to get some of that feathers and damage down.
Yeah, the Jak'Sho is a really good item into these AP matchups because obviously with the changes that we saw at the Iceborne Gauntlet, it only gives armor. So against the Kennen, kind of sucks. So the Jak'Sho is just going to help out mastery. The Gargoyle Stoneplate going to do a lot as well. I think the big difference maker is going to be a case of whether Chasey can be available with the all-out to try and prevent incoming fights from Photon. If Bo goes too far, it feels like a lot of what Chasey's trying to do is buy space for Carzzy in these fights, and that can be the big difference maker. And it's a similar story with Elyoya, right? Even when we saw Nisqy take the Ice Claw that he shouldn't have in that bot lane, Elyoya was sticking right behind him, was like, hey look, if you need to come here, I can immediately kick any sort of follow-up damage that's coming through. So it's a lot of peel that's coming through from the top side of the map for Mad.
One of the big advantages Mad have is the experience difference. Nisqy level 17, Chasey level 16. Just across the board, Mad do have that advantage, and this is going to set them up nicely, especially when you think of Syndra. Level 16, you do so much more damage with your ultimate, getting closer to that 120 stacks. Kennen, level 3 ultimate as well. These are levels that these champions really value, especially as you get into these late game fights.
And I think a lot of that has come down to how Mad Lions have just played the map better, right? Using the TPs more efficiently. Even just there, right before we saw this Baron spawn, Nisqy TP'd into the top wave to get pushed, so then they could establish a bunch of vision in the jungle of Vitality. Now Vitality don't have vision control in River because they're clearing out their own side of the jungle, and now Mad are starting to set up here. They're pushing forward. Elyoya is hiding in the bush, seeing if he can spot someone for that kick.
And Dagda, do you think it's fair to say, like, also Mad Lions, they haven't been in a position where they could be full 5v5. It has felt to me like they've controlled many of the skirmishes and had the smaller numbers advantage, so they don't run foul of the Kennen, the Syndra, the Aphelios.
I'm going to be a little critical of Perkz here. I think that whenever Perkz plays these facilitators, he doesn't play them like a facilitator. He wants farm in side lanes, and I think a huge portion of that is kind of come back to bite them here for Vitality, where now Mad Lions have been able to find skirmishes because he hasn't been in space to TP, and now they're forcing.
I mean, the fight is, the Baron's going to be over before the fight even begins. They shall pop
really
out, and
nice
Mad Lions just straight up secure the objective. Nisqy bought some space, and that is now Mad Lions extending that lead even further.
So Bo was trying to sit in Fog of War, and Nisqy moved into that Fog of War to then spot Bo out, flash ult. No hesitation, just flash ult and go burst, 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 and then he used his E to get out. That means that all 5 members of Mad walk away with the Baron, and they could reset ready for Dragon Soul as well. Just excellent play from Nisqy and the side of Mad Lions.
And again, it's not only in the fights, like Nisqy TPing top wave to push in means that you continuously control the vision all the time, and that's what Mad Lions have been doing so good, not even like at the later portions of the game, even in these early stages as well, unlocking Elyoya to know exactly what Bo is up to so he can try and make these plays, so we can find these skirmishes. And now Vitality, even though they might have some fantastic scaling, how do they try and approach things like Dragon in 30 seconds? That there's no vision at all on this bot side. It's even meant to be cleared out by Chasey. Mad own the map, and Vitality knows.
I mean, how did they start their fights either? I mean, this Vi was picked into the Xayah. Lissandra was then an option as well. So Vitality ideally hoping for them to be engaged on, but they're too far behind.
Yeah, I think this one ward just here, right behind Mad, is probably going to be the big one. If you can try and get Perkz in towards there, Photon doesn't really have any sort of ult to get in. Maybe you can catch people off. That'll set up for Photon with a flash, but that's the only way I really see Vitality trying to get in towards this, but may not even be the case. It looks like they're just going to give us.
Okay, is this hopium too much, Betty? If Mad Lions look to pick a fight, look to siege on those inhibitor turrets, once Baron times out, that is one of the opportunities that they will be corralled together. That could open options for the Syndra, for the Kennen.
I mean, this is it, right? Like, you're running out of time.
The final stand.
And Upset, while he is down in levels against Carzzy, he now has 3 items. Perkz, 3 items. Photon, 3 items. Like, this is kind of the point in the game with which you need to say, we're ready to fight. This is your last opportunity. So they're looking for the pick.
You might find it. Follow over. Cease and desist down. Taking a long time to kill Elyoya. Damage mitigation. Betty has talked about it. Elyoya still not down. Moonlight Vigil comes out. Aljoya does not get taken out. Teleport was not committed. Chasey's pushing
Perkz
bottom lane.
didn't commit the ultimate
Niski's
either.
pushing top lane.
Maybe he couldn't get in range after the stopwatch, but I feel like that could have been a big window to find a pick, but a lot was invested already. Upset's ultimate, Bo's ultimate.
I'm going to summarize the conversation we had before the fight. Vitality need to channel Leonidas and the 300's energy, defend the steps like they are Spartans. They cannot afford to give up that base. That's one of the areas they can corral them together, Dekta.
Niski, though, having this push once more on top side, the rest of the matter sitting on the wings. Yes, you do have the damage for Vitality, but you're just not getting the opportunity to actually find those moments. I think you needed to drop side lane on bot side and find that moment to collapse on Mad, but now Mad Lions are knocking on your base, and there's little that you can really do.
I'm going to follow Photon. Still got that flash, still got the ultimate. Hasn't really had a chance to find a big slicing Maelstrom. Remember, that was the first pick on red side, and then Mad Lions have played around it very well.
And he's also hit critical mass with this build. This build revolves around the Riftmaker, the Cosmic Drive, getting your 3 procs of damage down, so then the Cosmic Drive and Riftmaker go wild, and you can go absolutely nuts with it, with that ultimate specifically. But because Vitality haven't really set up for the fights prior to that, they haven't really been in a position where Photon can go for it. And again, I mean, like, just look at the vision that is on the map right now. Like, there's so little that you can actually see anywhere in this side that would actually spot out where the members of Mad Lions are, and it means that Vitality find it very difficult to get Photon in position.
And talking about damage and talking about how Mad Lions composition, there's a lot of damage mitigation, a lot of tankiness. If they get Elder, that's going to help a lot. Death lasers from the Dragon.
The problem for Mad is they haven't actually broken the base of Vitality. And I think that's the crucial thing, because we talked about how difficult it is, and you can see how scared they are. I think that they've decided we're going to force Vitality out of their base, and we're going to force them to fight around Baron. They found Aphelios, though.
Oh, Kaiser's going to try to get into range. Rushes for Devour is available. Bo's going to try buy some time. Upset stays alive long enough to Gale force away to then flash. Kaiser has now been taken down. Punished. Teleport was committed for that. Death charge thrown out from Hilly. And Kaiser sacrifices his life. Upset loses his flash. And with 1:30 until Baron, 3 minutes until Elder, Mad Lions find that pick.
Now, on paper, that doesn't really result in anything. There is no objective for them to take. However, Upset, no flash. Kaiser, no flash. Just taking away those summoner spells in and of itself is great. And you look at Aljoya and you look at Chasey, their flashes are likely going to be up for the next engage. Just really great awareness, this vision, this deep vision that was invested by Mad, just being utilized quickly to spot out the Aphelios and create a quick collapse.
And this is, again, just coming back to Mad having full control over this top side, making it impossible for that vision to really be cleared out effectively. But Kaiser, what a hero play. Flashing in front of the CC from Chasey just to get the damage, or the block, and also get the eat. And then Perkz getting that CC to knock him away so the rest of Vitality can walk out.
Considering everything in the kitchen sink was thrown out Upset, he got away scot-free. Yes, had to blow the flash, and Gale Force was saved by Kaiser. But I do just have this tingly feeling that Vitality will have an opportunity to fight under their tower. So I think if they lose Baron or Elder, it gets significantly more scary, but there is this tiny, tiny hope for them.
So you can see that normally teams will try and enter through the jungle, but Vitality is saying, you know what, we'll do what we do at Drake, and we'll actually just gain access through top and then enter the river through that way. It's a slightly safer path, which reduces the risk of you getting picked off in your own side of the jungle.
Does make it very likely the Mad Lions go, cool, but mid lane, and just run straight down the mid. So
they have some Perkz there to go and catch that as well. But Vitality have now gained access onto the Baron. They can clear out some of the vision, and now Mad, this could be the fight that they've been looking for.
Teleport's available for Perkz. And remember, Kalikatsu were talking about how ideally Mad want to pull Vitality out of the base. Get Vitality away from the steps, get them away from that
Perkz is still mid.
Holding on to that TP. Baron is still being held on here by Kazi. Mad Lions, they've got control of the pit. This might be the third Baron of the game.
There's one ward sitting behind, which they're not going to TP to. Vitality are going to concede it. The third Baron of the game will go to Mad Lions and the Elder in a minute's time.
And that makes it so easy now for Mad to get that. They reset, they get to push out waves. They don't have to immediately start up the Elder Dragon, because if you can get your waves in position with Baron, you just siege the base all day and fall back to the Dragon when there's not really an opportunity for Vitality to answer.
I mean, I know Mad Lions were going to make a play for the Baron. That was fairly obvious with the control, with the vision they had. But it did feel like the way Vitality positioned, the fact that Perkz was in mid lane, once they got pushed away in 5v4, there was nothing Vitality could have done.
To be fair, though, this is excellent play for Mad Lions.
Yeah.
Slow, calculated, everything we praised them for in winter, now coming back.
Look at Chasey coming in from the flank. Dredge line will connect. Bo buys some time. Photon gets caught out by the mine. Devour used. Elyoya finds the kick! Upset is taken down! Elyoya setting it up. Bo flashing for his life. The GA will bring Mad Lions back. Scout of the Week does nothing. Perkz not got the damage, not got the backup, lost 2 members. Mad Lions looking for the Nexus, looking to put themselves on match points.
This is a result of that TP investment into the top lane. Catching Upset in that lane isolated is what resulted in this fantastic fight. Elyoya with the clutch kick, Elyoya with the incredible game. Mad looking to go to match point.
Call him Elyoya, what a play. Inhibitor secured in the middle lane, Inhibitor being taken down in the bottom lane. Bo's trying to get some damage onto Niski. His GA will be procced. Hilly, Dredge lines onto the tower, and 3 members are being focused down. Perkz is dropped. Mad Lions, calculated, controlled, and they will set themselves up. Are they seriously going to kill Upset?
They want to kill Upset.
This is getting into the head. Upset by some time, and Mad Lions take down the Nexus. That's sending a message if ever I've seen one.
A longer game, our longest game of the series, but it wasn't really close. Mad Lions slowly accruing leads throughout the game. And I said it during the cast, I'll say it again, Elyoya was instrumental. And within 5 minutes, he found a gank mid, he found a gank top, he found a gank bot. He found so many of the successful skirmishes for Mad Lions that Vitality never got any of the team fights that they wanted to. They never got to leverage their range. And it was basically the Elyoya show from start to finish.
And I'll tell you something now, at the end of that play, waiting for Upset, trying to find the kill in the fountain, there'll be many differing opinions on that, but frankly, I love it. I absolutely love it. Sending a message, I think, Dagda, you were talking about it, just how patient and how calm Mad Lions played at the end of the game. They respected the potential team fights. I don't think we ever truly got a full-on 5v5.
But the big thing is the way they played the map never gave that opportunity to Vitality.
Yeah.
I think that's what was most impressive by Mad Lions was when you saw, Perkz overextending topside, he doesn't have TP. Fantastic. We'll go bot. We'll make sure that we have the advantage every step of the way.
Gentlemen, we are done for this game. Mad Lions have 1 win to go before they face BDS in the final with Vitality push us to Silver Scrapes in Game 5. Find out on the other side of the break.